Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to the fellow viewers of Newzroom Afrika. You see, we are of the view that the recent judgment is littered with examples of injustice, which we think that should not be left unchallenged. And we're very excited that the Department of Correctional Services also has taken a decision to challenge that judgment. I will give you two examples of what we believe constitute a traverse of justice. The first one is that this was a DA case, but of course they were joined by, as we would have expected, naturally. These are all working together as ideological opponents of the ANC. They were joined by the Helen Suzman Foundation and AfriForum. All of those are working, have positioned themselves as right-wing in a way in terms of our politics. The Helen Suzman Foundation says, please disregard the fact that former President Zuma, while at home, is still under the supervision of correctional services, and therefore that should not be counted as part of being arrested. We think that is not correct. And the judgment does not even provide detailed explanation or a cogent explanation. Why should it be disregarded that at this stage and over the past few months, JZ has been at home and his life has been extremely regulated by the conditions of the parole as informed by the laws of our country. The second issue, of course, is that you take the decision of the Correctional Service Director to court. You win the case, then the court says JZ must also pay some cost. Why? Why should he pay some cost? Because he didn't give himself a parole. He's a beneficiary of a process that was followed by the Commissioner of the Correctional Service, which in our view as the African National Congress was a correct and a proper decision. Now, why do you say to him, you too also, Zuma, you must pay because this decision has now been taken by the court based on the challenge by the DA? Those are some of the examples. I may not go to detail because the matter has got to be dealt with by the legal people. But we think at the surface level, there an injustice is being meted upon former President Zuma.
But Mr. Ntuli, I'm sure you'd agree that time is of the essence here. The matter is being, or rather expected to be heard on Tuesday, and it appears that there is a hurdle as we appear to need the go-ahead from the party's National Executive Committee, which of course is the party's highest decision-making body. Do you have enough time to get involved in these proceedings?
Look, our view was that the position of the province was that the ANC, not necessarily the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. And that is why we said we will go and engage the National Executive Committee of the ANC. And of course, leave the matter on their hands so that they can guide us whether they are of the view that this is the best way to go or we need to take a different approach. We are quite amenable as it has always been the case, that we may be having this view and later on discover that the national leadership guides us differently. But the matter is on the desk of the national leadership, and I'm perfectly aware that they are seized with it, as it has been indicated on the statement of the National Executive Committee. And once a position has been adopted, they will communicate to us that, look, we think this is the best way to go in terms of dealing with this matter.
I want to refer back to a quote that you made saying that while they shouldn't be influenced by external factors when making judgments, judges cannot simply ignore the implications of their decisions. Please expand on this sentiment for us.
Firstly, I hold a very strong view, which is always, I hold a very strong view that in many instances, when a court makes a decision on any matter, it does take into consideration external factors. I want to give you an example. When the court says, we are making this decision, we're giving you a bail or we're denying a bail, that has got to do with what